Yo, what the heck is up, YouTube? Welcome to Glee UFC. If you don't know me, I'm a strength coach. Um, Go follow my Instagram at glee.training. I just very recently had a light bulb moment, and I love the UFC. I love MMA. I love to train, and man, I really want to go all in and work with MMA fighters. So if you're a fighter watching this, go check out my Instagram. Hit me up if you're interested in training. And let's get into this UFC 329 card predictions. All right. First of all, Tapology is crazy, dude. I didn't realize how much info they got on here. This website is sick. But first fight of the night, we got Alessandro Costa versus Cody Durden. Was supposed to be Cody Durden versus Odie Osborne. Odie Osborne pulled out. Now we got Alessandro Costa. Costa is a freaking animal. Um, I think he's really, really good. I think he's going to find a lot of success in the flyweight division. Um, Durden is also a dog, though. Durden will make you fight. He's a pressure wrestler. He's got a good chin on him. He's really hard to put down. However, I think Costa knocks him out in the second round. Costa is also there to brawl. He's not scared of a fight. He's got really decent grappling. I think the pressure of Durden is gonna test him a little bit in the first round, but I think Costa's gonna catch him with something. He hits really hard for a flyweight. Um, yeah, again, I think Durden's gonna make it a tough fight in the first round, maybe. Probably get pieced up a little bit, and then that second round, Costa's gonna find something, and he's gonna knock Durden out. Um, so I'm going Costa, second round knockout. I'm probably gonna fly through the prelims a little bit. Ryan Gandra for Zachary Reese. Now, I made my picks a few days ago, and a lot of people are picking Ryan Gandra. I kind of want to change my pick to Ryan Gandra. The only thing is, I don't think he's that good. He swings these big meaty hooks. He gets in your face. Zachary Reese, is his full name Zachary, or am I just calling him Zachary? I mean, it's got to be. But Zach Reese, Zach Savage Reese. Um, he's good. He's lengthy. He had a decent fight against Michel Pereira. Lost by split decision. It was a close fight. I don't losing to Michel Pereira, even like winning against in a close fight against him doesn't really do much for me. So I don't know. I don't know if he's fast enough to catch. The way to beat Ryan Gandra for Zachary Reese is to catch him with a straight when he's darting in with these big hooks. I don't know if Zach Reese is fast enough. He's got pretty stiff straight shots, but I don't know. I'm still kind of torn on this one. But you know what? I'm going to go with Zach Reese by decision because if I'm right, I'm going to seem smart. All right. Fareed Basharat versus John Garza. In honor of the main event, Conor McGregor. Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that guy? I have no idea who John Garza is. I'm not going to try to seem like a. I'm not going to try to act like a hardcore and act like I know who this John Garza dude is. However, I'm not very high on Fareed Basharat, especially considering like he's undefeated. None of his wins have been that impressive. He's decent all around, but like he's getting in close fights with dudes who he shouldn't be getting in close fights with. Again, I don't know shit about John Garza. He's stepping in on short notice. This is supposed to be Ethan Ewing. Um, you know what, dude? You know what? In honor of Ethan Ewing, who stepped in on short notice against Malcolm Wellmaker and showed us and introduced us to himself. I'm gonna pick John Garza. Screw it. Let's go John Garza decision. All right. Not much to say about that fight. Damian Penis versus Cesar Almeida. I'm going with Damian Penis round one knockout. Now, I was kind of torn on this fight because Cesar Almeida, he is a solid kickboxer. However, he's really chinny. He's been like kind of 50-50 in the UFC. Um, Now he has a lot more experience than Damian Pinas. All right, I should stop disrespecting the dude. Damian Pinas, but Damian Pinas, I think, is really, really impressive. He looked crazy on Contender Series, which we've seen a lot of people look crazy on Contender Series and they don't end up doing much. Um, but his last win beat the shit out of Wes Schultz, who not much of an impressive win. Um, but he's got really, really hard straight shots. Um, Again, Cesar Almeida, I think he'll do a decent job of keeping distance early, but I think it's gonna come to a point within the first, after the first couple minutes of the first round, where Damian Pinas is gonna be like, all right, I'm sick of this. It's gonna be one of those cases where he just like decides to end the fight, and he's just gonna rush in. I don't think Cesar Almeida is gonna I don't think he has good enough, quick enough counters for Damian Pinas to be worried about anything. And I think Damian Pinas is going to knock him out in the first round. Plus, Cesar Almeida, he's pretty chinny. We've seen him get stung a lot in the UFC. So I'm going Pinas, round 1 knockout. Next up, dude, I can't wait for this fight, dude. Me and my friends are going to be glued to the TV for this one. Tracy Cortez versus Wang Kong. I'm actually switching my pick here. I'm going Wang Kong decision. Tracy Cortez just doesn't have it in her, man. She's got decent wrestling. She kind of just wants to hold you there, make sure don't let you get up. She's one of those fighters. But Wang Kong, really good at keeping distance, really solid kickboxing. I think she just wants it more, to be honest. Yeah, enough about that one. All right. Next up, Luke Riley versus Kai Kamaka. I think this is going to be a sick fight. I think this is going to be the best fight in the prelims. Dana, Mick, Hunter, Sean. I'm no B League fighter. I'm an S League fighter. I think Luke Riley's going to win by decision. He's looked really good in the UFC so far. He knocked out Bogdan Grad. Went to a decision with I don't know. I can't think of his last fight. Went to a decision. Looked pretty good. Didn't dominate, but looked pretty solid. I think he's just a lot cleaner than Kai Kamaka. Kai Kamaka is really, really fast. Really, really fast. Kind of flat-footed, though, and really, really chinny. Leaves his chin, or leaves his face unprotected a lot. And I think Luke Riley is good enough to capitalize on that. Again, I think this is going to be the best fight of the prelims. But I think it's going to be a close Luke Riley decision. Unanimous decision. But yeah, I think this is going to be a great fight. I wouldn't completely overlook Kai Kamaka. Like, Luke Riley, don't get me wrong, he's looked great, but it's not like, oh, dude, like, they're just feeding him this prospect so they can get his name up. Like, I think Luke Riley still has a lot to prove. But I think he will prove that he is legit on Saturday, and he is a dog. Both these guys are dogs, which is why I think it's going to be a great fight. They're just going to trade shots, very little grappling. Yeah, so I'm going Luke Riley decision there. Cody Garbrandt versus Adrian Yanez. I'm going Yanez decision. Dude, maybe I'm just a youngin'. I've never liked Cody Garbrandt that much. I understand that he was sick when he was younger. He was untouchable against Dominic Cruz, and he was like 25 years old. He had everything going for him. But dude, like, what is this guy doing? Like, I I I don't like. He's never been that cool to me. He's always seemed like kind of annoying. He's kind of a cornball. He got like a knife tattoo over his eye as like a 33-year-old. his last fight, his last fight was the worst thing I've ever seen. It was actually embarrassing for the promotion. He gets kicked in the nuts like 3 times by Zhang Lao, and as they're waiting for him to come back, he does this little. He's like he's in an edit or something, and then he just sprints at him with this stupid ass like flying knee kick thing. Like, and then the rest of the fight, nothing happens. Like, he's like, yeah, come on, and then he just sits there at range and jabs and throws hooks that miss by 3 feet. That's the thing too. Is like, dude, his accuracy has gone down so much. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, accuracy goes down a little bit as you age in MMA. Like, we see a lot, but like it's mostly because their speed goes down. Cody Garbrandt's still pretty fast, but his shots are just nowhere close to landing. And Adrian Yanez is an incredible boxer. He had a crazy start to the UFC, and he's been kind of on and off since then. Um, but I think he's going to get a solid win here. I think he's just going to piece him up. I could see a finish, but I don't know. I think Cody Garbrandt's going to tough it out, and I think Adrian Yanez is going to win by decision. Pretty clear, like 30-27 probably. So yeah. Next up, Gable, couple hiccups, Stevenson versus Alicia Ellison. Don't know much about the Snack Panther here. Yeah, I'm going Gable. I I've seen a lot of people say this, and I do kind of agree. Like, I think the hype is a little crazy. Like, he's a minus what, like 4,000 favorite. Like, that's a little ridiculous. Now, he's gonna find a lot of success in the UFC because he's a freak athlete and he's a heavyweight. And if you're a freak athlete as a heavyweight, as we've seen with Josh Hokett, you're gonna succeed. And Gable Stevenson is an even better athlete than Josh Hokett. And his striking does look decent for like just beginning the sport a few years ago. And yeah, I think he's gonna find a ground and pound TKO similar to what he had on the regional scene. I think he had like 2 or 3 of those knockouts, um, where he just takes you down. Uh, I mean, he is a freak. Like, he's taking people down quick, and with precision. And yeah, I think he's just gonna get him on the ground and pound TKO. That is the one thing I like about Gable is he's not just there to wrestle. Like, he's trying to. It was kind of like when Brock Lesnar came over. Like, he was trying to like kill people. Like, when Gable gets you on the ground, like, he's trying to kill you. He really like he goes for his ground and pound. He's not just gonna hold you down. Um. So yeah, again, I think he's gonna win by first round ground and pound TKO, maybe second round. Um. But yeah, I don't think this dude is ever really gonna be champion. Um. And yeah. Next up, Robert Whitaker versus Nikita Krylov. I'm going Nikita Krylov round 2 knockout. I don't want to, but I am. I will be rooting so hard that my prediction is wrong. I love Bobby Nux. I think, like, I really just think he's too small. Like, the dude competed at welterweight. He wasn't a massive welterweight. Like, he was a small middleweight. And now he's going up against Nikita Krylov, he hasn't been amazing since his return. Lost to Dominic Reyes, lost to Bogdan Guskov. Um, Knocked out Modestas Bukauskas, which is it was a decent win because Bukauskas was on a little bit of a streak, not a very impressive one. And Nikita Krylov knocked him out. Again, knocking out Bukauskas is not like anything crazy, but Nikita Krylov loves to just rush in and wing overhands, wing hooks, and I think, if these dudes were similar size and Robert Whitaker was a little bit sharper like he used to be, he would be countering him every time he rushes in. He would catch him with something down the middle. But I just don't think he's got it like that anymore, and I don't think he's gonna hit hard enough to really like finish Nikita Krylov. Um, Dude. Also, when I was thinking about who I was picking for this fight, I completely forgot about when Whitaker knocked out Ikram Alaskara, and everybody was like, "Dude, he's back, dude." And then he had a couple rough losses. Lost to DDP, which is not a bad loss considering like what DDP ended up doing, like where his career ended up going after that. But the way like it showed us that he's losing his chin a little bit. Like, this isn't Robert Whitaker that fought Yoel Romero. Like, this is chinny, kind of washed Whitaker, which I hate to say, but like, yeah, he fell to a jab from DDP, and then in his last fight, I think that was the last fight, right, against what's his name, RDR. You know, RDR looked good at the time, but since then he's looked a little rough, and he ended up just moving up to 205 also. And in that fight, dude, he looked like way bigger than Whitaker, and they got in a really close fight. And yeah, I don't know, man. I think Krylov is gonna rush in. And he's gonna catch him with something, and we're gonna see Robert Whitaker get knocked out, unfortunately. Now, King Green versus Terrence McKinney. I'm calling him Bobby Boy because he's gonna get schmurdered. I'm gonna cut. I'm gonna have my. I'm gonna cut that part out. But I don't know, dude. My initial reaction was Terrence McKinney round one submission. Now we know the fight's ended in the first round. All right, I'm a hardcore dude. I know that Terrence McKinney's fights always end in the first round, but Bobby Green has looked really good recently, and Terrence McKinney hasn't looked bad, but he's looked the same as when he first came into the UFC. Like, he either starches you or he gets starched. And I think if he's going to rush in like that, I don't think he's going to catch Bobby. I think Bobby's going to catch him, if anything. However, I do think Terrence will find a way to get this on the ground. Bobby Green's got really good submission defense, but I think he's going to be too overwhelmed by Terrence's hands. He's going to get taken down, and I think Terrence McKinney is going to find a submission. I really am not confident in this pick. I kind of want to go Bobby KO. You know what, dude? Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to go with our intuition here. Bobby Green's going to win by first round knockout. I love Terrence McKinney. I honestly want him to win. Bobby Green's kind of annoying to me. So, we're going to go Bobby Green first round knockout. Hate to say it, but I think that'll happen. Brandon Royval versus Loner Kavanagh. What the hell? I did not pick Brandon Royval, dude. I picked Loner Kavanagh. Lonnie Kavanagh. Lonnie Kavanagh by decision. Now, I don't think Brandon Royval is washed or anything. He's had a couple rough last two fights. Got knocked out by Manel Kopp, which is like not that doesn't hurt your legacy too much. Manel Kopp looks amazing right now. And then the fight before that, lost to Joshua Van in a very, very close fight, and Joshua Van is now the champ. So those two losses don't I'm not going to discredit Royval too much for those. However, Lonnie Kavanagh is disgusting, dude. I think all the hype that he is getting is 100% worth it. He's an insane kickboxer. Even in the Charles Johnson fight, which has been his only loss in the UFC so far, he looked amazing up until that point where Charles caught him. Which you know, I'm not saying that like getting caught doesn't mean you like didn't lose. Like that's Lonnie's fault for leaving his hands down. But I think he learned his lesson there. I think that was good for him in his young career. And yeah, I think this fight is going to go similar to the Joshua Van fight, to be honest. I think it's going to be really close, but there's not going to be any question about who the judges are going to pick. You know what I mean? Like the Josh Van Royval fight was really close. We're like getting towards the last few minutes of the fight, you were like, dude, like if something happens, if someone gets knocked down, if someone gets a big shot in, they could end up winning the fight. Like it's that close. I think it's going to be like that, but by the time the fight is over, you're going to be like, damn, that was a great fight. I think like Lonnie definitely got it though. So I think Lonnie is going to show how good he really is. Kind of like how Josh Van, like he went from Bruno Silva to Brandon Royval. It was like a big jump, and it was like this is the fight to prove like if he's legit or not. I think it's gonna be the same for Lonnie. Like he did just beat Brandon Moreno, which is a better win than Josh Van versus Bruno Silva. Especially on short notice. At elevation in Moreno's, I don't know if it was like his hometown, but like it was a home crowd for Moreno. I think that's a more impressive win, so this isn't as big of a jump, but I think this is going to show us how legit Kavanagh is. He's going to get a title shot soon after this. Lonnie Kavanagh decision. Dude, I don't know what to pick for this fight. I'm going to be straight up. I don't know what to pick. I've been going back and forth on this fight more than any other fight in the card. I'm going to switch it up again. We're going with my boy Corey Sandhagen. My boy. He's my boy. Ask him. In fact, I went to Colorado and I was going to go to his gym to train, but he wasn't there that night. So I was like, I don't. If I'm not gonna meet my boy, my old pal Corey, and I'm not going. But I think this is gonna be a really really close fight. I think this is gonna be a really close fight. There's not gonna be a ton of action, but we've seen Bautista make. Now, first off, let me say this: I don't hate Bautista as much as everybody else did. I guess I did for like a week or two after the Jose Aldo fight, but then I was like, dude, no, this guy's always been pretty likable up until that fight, and then he redeemed himself with the Patchy Mix fight, like put on a decent performance, and then his last fight against Vinicius Oliveira put bell to ass, dude. Just had like the craziest transitions on the ground I've seen. I forgot exactly what the choke was. I want to say it was an armbar, but I think I'm wrong. Um, put bell to ass, submitted him, and looked really, 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 really good. He's not going to do that to Corey. I'll tell you that. Corey's scrambles are too nice. Corey's too good on the ground, and I think this is going to be a stand-up fight. And I don't think Corey is washed, but I think he is on the downfall. But I think he's just going to show that there's levels. He's too intelligent of a striker. He's very selective with his shots, which can hurt you. But in this fight, I don't think that will hurt you because Batista's the same way. He's not going to rush in and try to knock Corey out. It's just going to be it's going to be a boxing match, and I think with a fighter like Batista who's too similar of style to Corey, Corey's just better at that style. And again, he's going to show that there's levels. It's going to be a really close fight. Like I think it's going to be there's going to be more of a question of who won than the previous fight. But I think Corey's going to get it done. Maybe like a 29-28 split decision. But yeah, let's go Corey. Co-main event: BSD versus Patty. This one I kind of went back and forth on. Dude, again, I'm going Patty Plymouth by decision. Now, BSD has looked good. He's on a really good streak right now. Submitted Kyle Prepelec, fine. I feel like I'm missing one in there. Is he on a 5-fight or a 4-fight win streak? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing one. But then went in there against Roofy, submitted him, looked really good there. Knocked out Dariush, fine. I mean, Dariush has a glass chin these days. And then beat Dan Hooker, which is a really good win, but I think people are overrating that win. If you go and rewatch that fight, Dan Hooker was catching him a lot on the feet, and BSD literally, dude, he just puts his head down and just throws the sloppiest takedown attempt ever at you, and you're not gonna be able to do that against Patty. Like he can kind of just trudge through a lot of these lightweights and just keep putting his head down, taking him down like Roofy, who his takedown defense kind of got exposed in that fight. That's not going to happen to Patty, dude. Patty wants you to come at him and try to get it to the ground. He's a very good defensive grappler. A lot of his submissions are off his back. And I think this is going to be one of those cases. Now, maybe I was going to say I think this might be one of those cases where like two grappling heavy fighters are fighting each other, and they both don't really want it on the ground, so they just make it a stand-up fight. But BSD really never does that. Like I think he's just going to keep trying, and I think, dude, I might even go Patty submission. But I don't know. I think BSD is probably pretty hard to submit. I think Patty's just going to do a really good job of keeping distance, throwing strikes at distance. He's going to throw a lot of kicks. He's going to hurt his calf. And Scalzos don't get knocked out. I'm a Scalzo. We don't get knocked out. Or as Garbrandt said, oh yeah, I like this Patty kid. He's a sorcerer. He said he's a sorcerer. They don't get knocked out. Whatever. Anywho, I think Patty's going to win by decision. He's going to make BSD bleed a lot. I don't think BSD is going to do anything with the hands here. He's just going to really try to just take Patty down. It's not going to work. Patty's going to just get back up every single time, and I think he's going to throw a lot of strikes at distance. And yeah, I think he's gonna win a pretty clear decision. I could even see him winning by submission. All right, Conor McGregor. We got our main event: Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway. I am actually very excited for this. When this first got announced, I was like everybody else, and I was just like, oh, dude, Max is gonna just freaking walk through him, dude. Dude, Max is just gonna walk through him. And on second thought, I think that a lot of that narrative roots from people trying to be like, oh, you think McGregor's that good? Like, you're a casual. Like, no, dude, McGregor is that good. The only problem is he just spent 5 years doing coke and drinking and not training whatsoever, as far as we know. And Max Holloway in that time has showed that he's like still in his prime, basically. Maybe not after the Poirier and the Ilya fight. We've seen that his chin is starting to lose that chin that he was known for a little bit. However, I do think Max Holloway is going to win this fight, and I think he's going to make McGregor quit. Um, Now McGregor, he has the advantage of fighting at this weight before. He has the advantage. He's a longer reach. Um, he's beat Max before, so he's got that confidence. I mean, McGregor's known for always having his confidence, but there's no way his cardio holds up in this fight, dude. He spent 5 years doing God knows what, and I think he's just gonna gas out, and Max is just gonna he's gonna keep hitting him with his little shots as the fight goes on. He's not gonna be too aggressive. I don't think McGregor's gonna grapple him like he did in the first fight. I think Max is gonna defend any takedown that McGregor throws his way, and if he does get him down, he's gonna get back up. He's not gonna do anything with it. And I think by the fourth round, Max is gonna make McGregor quit. He's gonna hit him with a few hard shots, and it's not going to be like a knockout, but McGregor's just going to kind of fall to the ground, put his hands on his head, and the ref's going to come in and stop it. So I'm very excited for this. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people are expecting. I do think McGregor will look better than a lot of people are giving him credit for, but I'm going Max. Round 4 knockout, round 4 TKO. I'm rooting for him. I love Max. I don't care for Conor much anymore. However, I have to give him props. He's the reason I watch UFC. He was on the first pay-per-view that I ever watched live, him versus Khabib. He's the reason we all watch. He's by far the biggest star in the history of the sport. However, he's just not cut for it anymore. We're going to see him lose. So, there's my predictions. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. You guys made history if you're watching this. You guys made history. I will be training UFC fighters one day. Yeah. Peace.